Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Madhurya Kadambini discussion every morning. We are on the Dvitiya Vrishti. The second paragraph we have finished, but I'll just revise that and then we'll begin with the third paragraph. Before that, we will recite the Mangala Charan verses. Ridva Prenava Bhaktishasya Vitate Sanjeevani Swagama Rambe Kamatapatarudahdamani Vishwapagullasini Duran me Marushakino api sarasi Bhavaya Bhuyat Prabhu Shri Chaitanya Kripa Nirankush Maha Madhurya Kadambini Shri Chaitanya Kripa Nirankush Maha Madhurya Kadambini Shri Chaitanya Kripa Nirankush Maha Madhurya Kadambini Bhakti Purva Shritatam Tu Rasam Pashed Yadatadhi Tam Naumi Satatam Rupa Nama Priya Janam Hare. So yesterday, if you remember, we were discussing the second paragraph, the two types of bhakti, Kleshagni and Rag and Vaidi, which sprout because of in the field of the senses, Karana. I'll just read this briefly. Idanim Karna Kedara Akashu Prarudbhavantas Tasya Eva Bhaktir Gyan Karmadi Amishrutvena Shuddhaya Kalpavalla. The pure creeper, which is bhakti, which is free from Gyan Karmadi Amishrutvena, it is pure. It manifests in the field of the senses. And it is pure because it is only having the desire to please the Lord. Nirastanya phala abhisandhityeva. And it is like Dhritavrater, Madhuvrater, Iva. Just like the honeybee goes only to the flower and nowhere else. So the desires of that devotee only go to serve and please the Lord's senses. And taking shelter, and this is Vishaya Anukula Mula Prana. It is very favorable attitude towards serving Krishna. And this is compared to Swasparshena Sparshamani River, a touchstone, which transforms the senses, Karna Vrittir, the senses in the mind, which is like iron, Prakrita Lohatvam, Shanes, step by step. It's not like, it happens overnight. Shaner, Krama, Krama. Tajitva Chenmayatvam, and it becomes spiritualized, like the Jambunadatam Prapayanta, like the jambu fruit which falls from the tree and melts and starts flowing towards the ocean, in the Jambu Dweep. And this is Samudgacha, it moves, and this is sadhana bhakti, this is Shuddha sadhana bhakti, Dvaya Patrike Vivrate. These are the two leaves which come. First is called Kleshagni, Tayo Pratama Kleshagni, Dvitiya Shubheti, Shubhada. And in the leaf, Dvayor api tayor antastu lobha pravrta, the inner portion, it is impelled by lobha, and it is soft, chaitanya, and it is having the pure affectionate relationship with Krishna in the form of Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhur. Esha Maham Priyam Atmasuta. Sambandha Snignadaya च प्राप्त उत्कर्ष देश राग नामनो राज्ञा एवाधिकार. And bhayistu, the outer portion, tasmat bharat sarvatma, the Vaidi bhakti, which is shastra pravartakatva lakshana, parusha bhasena, abhasena. It is rough, you know, and it is lacking the Shuddha relationship, Snigdha relationship, And this is Vaidi Namno Parasya Ragya. It is the Vaidi. And both Klesha and Shubhada simultaneously manifest, and they give these symptoms. So yesterday we discussed quite in detail. In the last three classes, we have discussed this. So I'm not going to go again into this. We saw this. Oh, what happened? Why is this? Yeah, yesterday we studied the definition of Priyata in Preeti Sandarbha. If you remember yesterday, quite detailed, we went into it. So there are these three things we saw. One is Vishaya Anukulatmakas. By the very nature, Atma, love, Priyata is favorable to its object, Vishaya. It wants what is favorable to the object of love. That is the favorable attitude. And tad vishaya anukulgata tatspruha. Desire for that which is favorable to one which is dear. If one wants to serve God, one has to know what is dear to him. This is the dynamic will. We saw that yesterday also how there is a desire to attain the Lord. Tad anubhava hetullasmaya gyan vishesh. A special vishesh state of mind, Gyan, full of enthusiasm, ullasmayi, due to Hetuka, the experience, Anubhav, the efforts of the love actually resulted in the joy of the object. When he sees that, there is the Lord is happy and he also becomes happy, and this eternally continues. So we have this beginning stages, we experience the abhas of that ullasamayi, which is called as, utsamai, we experience this. So the feeling of joy and preeti as Priyatara does not originate in the experience of the character, the beauty, etc., of the object of love, nor in the experience of the happiness the beloved gives to the loving one, but in the experience of the knowledge that what the loving one did or does for the beloved gives or gave joy to the beloved. So this feeling of joy, is it's unsurpassable, it's inconceivable. So that's the point of being made. Another point which yesterday I forgot to mention, in the Bhakti Tattva Vivek, um, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he mentions Pratibimbas tata chaya bheda tattva vicharata bhaktya abhasu dvida sopi varjina rasartabhi. Those who desire to relish the liquid mellows of devotion, bhakti ras, should always remain aloof from the both types of bhakti abhas. Bhakti abhas. It is not bhakti, it is a just reflection of the bhakti. Just like there is nam and there is namabhas. When one crosses the namapra stage and comes to the namabhas stage, he's having taste for chanting and he's taking the name, but the cloud of anarthas in the form of avidya and the anarthas in the form of fog, they block the spiritual sun of the holy name to be fully received. So that is why it is called as Namabhas. Similarly, the bhakti, which is covered by other desires than the desire to serve Krishna, then it is not Shuddha Bhakti. It will be Bhakti Abhas. By reviewing this subject matter, it is concluded that the semblance of devotion is of two types, Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas and Chaya Bhakti Abhas. Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas has a tendency to make the living entity commit offense. So this Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas is what, the Jnanis and the Mayavadis sometimes think that the Lord form is made of Maya. So that is why there is a tendency to commit offenses, sorry. Whereas Chaya Bhakti Abhas is incomplete in itself. It is Chaya, it is just a reflection, it is not actually the real Bhakti. The execution of unalloyed devotion is only recommended activity of the living entity. So one should even give up Pratibimba Bhakti Abhas and Chaya Bhakti Abhas and practice actually Bhakti, which is Anyabhilashita Shunyam. So that's a point. I just wanted to cover that. So we have covered this. I just showed you the slides, and we went into Raganuga, Kleshagni, Shubhada yesterday, and what is Raga and how that Snigdha Sambandha is there. I'm Krishna's lover. And this mood, you cannot just imitate, you just cannot say it in words when the, you know, soul's actual love is not awakened. Otherwise, it becomes sahaja. And this is, this we should be very, very careful, especially, and then in the outer surface uh, is Tasmat Bharat Sarvatma, which is ruled by Shastric injunctions. They equally manifest. This I gave a clear explanation yesterday. Okay. So now we will begin the next third paragraph discussion, and Peer Krish Prabhu has a question. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandavat. Prabhu, this Bhakti Abhas, is it because of uh, we are not practicing pure devotion, or is it because of
Yes, yes. Uh, it is actually not bhakti, it is abhas of bhakti because we are not able to fulfill the gauna lakshana of Shuddha Bhakti definition, Anya Bilashita Shunyam and Jnana Karmadya Navratam. So when the gaun lakshanas are fulfilled and the bhakti becomes pure, then from bhakti abhas we go to bhakti. And from that bhakti is sadhana bhakti. And this sadhana bhakti is also ahetuki, as we have proved it in the Pratama Vrishti. Even sadhana bhakti is causeless, it manifests. So now then, array, why do we, we just wait. When the causeless mercy of bhakti, they will come and manifest in my heart. No. And I can sleep, I can watch TV. No. We do all the activities of the rules and regulations of bhakti. So ultimately, so that we get that causeless mercy of the sadhu and Bhakti Devi, so that Bhakti Devi will manifest in the heart. And it's part of the purification. Prabhupada, the four regulative principles are not the actually the principles of practice of Shuddha Bhakti. It is to bring a person to the human form of life, to lead a pure life, free from sin. So like that, these practices ultimately, Bhakti Abhas will turn into Bhakti. So it is said that a Kanishta Adhikari, his Bhakti is Mishra, and that is why it is a Bhakti Abhas. Only when you come to the Madhyama platform, then uh, it we have Shastriya Shraddha. And with that, we actually, you know, enter into pure devotion. And then there is a practice of bhakti. Is it clear, Prabhuji?
Thank you very much. Very much.
No, your audio suddenly stopped.
Yes, Prabhu, very clear, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Haribol?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Clear, Prabhu.
Yeah, the audio is still poor.
Uh, but
Yeah,
it is clear, Prabhu.
yeah. Okay. Sadhana Bhakti's attributes, Kleshagni and Shubhada. No? So in the previous paragraph, both Raga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti destroy Klesha. Its five types will now be described. So in the previous it was mentioned that sadhana bhakti uh, does kleshagni and it does shubhada. You know. So now here how when the devotee practices Bhakti, how it happens, the specifics are given here, you know. So that is what is going to be discussed now. So now the literal meaning of uh, Klesh Agni, Klesh Agni, Klesha is suffering. But also, Vishwanath Chakradarkar goes deeper here. He says Klesh is cause of suffering. So when the cause of suffering is removed, then the effect, you know, this is the effect. Suffering is the effect. The suffering is gone. So that's why here klesha in definition means the cause of suffering. So he goes into the root of the problem. What is the cause of suffering? The causes of suffering. These kleshas are the cause of sinful and pious activities, which result in material misfortune or good fortune. It is papa or punya. So that's what he is going to discuss. Okay, let's go to the third paragraph. तत्र अविद्या अस्मिता राग द्वेष अभिनिवेशः पंचक्लेशा योग सूत्र 2.3 प्रारब्ध अप्रारब्ध रूढ़ बीज पापमा पापादस्य तन्मया एव शुभानि दुर्विशेष वैतृष्ण्य भगवत विषय सत्तृष्ण अनुकूल कृपा क्षमा सत्य सरल सारल सारल्य साम्य धैर्य गंभीर मानादित्वा अमानित्व सर्व सौभाग्यत्वादयो गुणश्च सर्वे गुणैस्तत्र समासते सुरा भागवत पुराण 5:18-12 इत्यादि दृष्टया ज्ञेया वेरी ब्यूटिफुल ना क्लेशस आर ऑफ फाइव टाइप्स पंचक्लेश अविद्या अस्मिता राग द्वेष अभिनिवेश अविद्या अस्मिता राग द्वेष अभिनिवेश पंचक्लेश the four types of sins papama papadayas tanmaya eva are prarabdha aprarabdha rudha bija are also included in klesha prarabdha aprarabdha rudha bija papadayas tanmaya eva shubha refers to qualities shubhani such as disinterest in material affairs, durvishaya vaitrishna, and interest in the Lord, bhagavat vishaya satrishna anukula, serving the Lord favorably, mercifulness, kripa, forgiveness, shama, truthfulness, satya, straightforwardness, saralya, samya, evenness in temper, dhairya, steadiness, gambhirya, gravity, manada, respectfulness, amanitvam, humility, all good fortune, and so on. Sarva Saubhagyatwadayo Gunasya. The Bhagavad 5:18-12 says, all the good qualities of the Lord as well as the demigods reside within the devotee. Sarves Gunes Tatra Samasate Sura. So this is the translation. Okay, so now let's go line by line. Now, uh, this is the translation which we will go through. Tatra avidya asmita raga dvesha abhinivesha pancha klesha yoga sutras. Kleshas are of five types: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh. Prarabdha, prarabdha, rudha, bija, papama, papadayas, tanmaya, eva. The four types of sin are these. Now here in the Yoga Sutras, the Patanjali Yoga Sutras define what is klesha. And this definition of klesha given in the Yoga Sutras is based on the causes of suffering. Hmm. So the in the Shad Darshans, we have the Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Karma Mimams, and Uttar Mimams, which is the Vedanta Sutra given by Vyasadeva. Now, even the Shad Darshans, are useful in understanding the Bhagavad philosophy. So here from the Shad Darshans, we are seeing the definition of klesha. So one should also at certain point in his practice of Krishna consciousness try to understand the Shad Darshans because they are, the like Nyaya is the rules of logic, how to logically think, what is the cause, what is the effect, and Hetu and all these terms are there. So one should try to understand this so that one can logically and systematically understand also the Bhagavatam. So it is very important that at some point one should study uh, the darshans, and that will help us to understand the Bhagavad darshan. And in fact, in the Bhagavatam, all these uh, five darshans are refuted, and the darshan of Vyasdev is, you know, is established. And in fact, in the Bhagavatam, right in the beginning, uh, uh, when the sages of Naimisharanya are glorifying Sud Goswami, they say, Yani Vena, Yani Ven, Yani Veda Vidam Shrestha Bhagavan Bhadrayana Anyacha Munaya Sutta Paravara Viduhu. That, oh learned Vyas, you're the Ved Vidam Shrestha. You're the most eldest learned Vedantist. And you have acquainted this knowledge from Vyasdev, Bhagavan Badarayana. And you also know other sages who are fully versed with all kind of physical and metaphysical knowledge. Anya cha Munaya Sutta. So Anya Prabhupada refers to, the six different philosophical systems: Gautam, Kanada, Kapila, Patanjali, Jamini, and Ashtavakra. Ashtavakra is the, uh, it is the Advaita. Advaita is also, Shankaracharya, but Ashtavakra also. And Prabhupada says theism is completely explained in the Vedanta Sutra, whereas the other philosophical systems practically no mention is given of the ultimate cause of all causes. And Prabhupada says one can sit on the Vyasasana only after being conversant with all systems of philosophy, so that and one can fully present the theistic views of the Bhagavatam and defines to all of the systems. So today, the Shad Darshans, in one sense, there is no scholars who study the Vedas and study these darshans, and it's hardly rarely you can find. But now the scientific theories and the scientific views about so many things, even that one has to study in order to defy those and present the theistic views of the Bhagavatam. So here now we are through the Yoga Sutras, the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, we are trying to understand the causes of suffering. And it is interesting, Vyasdev himself wrote a commentary on the Patanjali Yoga Sutras in order to refute the Yoga Sutras and establish the theistic views of the Vedanta Sutra. So here there are these five kleshas, avidya. Avidya is ignorance. And what is this ignorance? To mistake what is impermanent to be permanent, what is transient to be eternal. Just like the body is impermanent, we think, we are going to permanently stay in this material world. Or our house, it is impermanent, we think we are permanently going to stay there. Or in this world, it's temporary, but we think, oh no, oh, I'm going to stay permanently. So these levels of illusion of because of ignorance, they are very deep rooted, and that which is full of misery to be blissful. you know यही संस्पर्श जा होगा दुख यो न युवते. you know we think that the most uh, highest happiness, the sex life, is a source of bliss, but it is the source of full misery. And this is how maya sukh we are absorbed because of avidya, which is impure to be pure, and which is not the self to be the self, the body. Basically, we consider out of avidya the body, which is made of flesh, bone, stool, know bone marrow, as a vehicle for sense gratification. That's how uh, deep rooted is this avidya. And following avidya, there is asmita. Asmita means asmi, you know I am, that ahankar, I am this body, the false identification of I and mine, to accept only direct sense perception as whole, pratyaksha, So Patanjali gives a definition, he mentions, uh, there are these two things. There is the seer and the act of seeing. Drig darshana shaktyor ekatmevasmita. In the Yoga Sutras, I have not defined it here. I'll add it later on. you know, there is the drigga and there is the darshan. There is seer and the seen, you know. But identifying the seer with the act of seeing. And this is the cause of all suffering. If I am a Atma, I am a Sakshi, I am a witness, and all the activities which are happening in the act of seeing through the eyes, the external things, I have nothing to do with that. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyate tattvavit. Bhagavad Gita 5.8 and 9. But I get absorbed in it. You know, I get absorbed. Identifying the act of seeing with the seer. Drig darshana shaktior ekatmaiva smita. That is asmita in the Yoga Sutras. You know. So the identification of the individual soul with the material energy, body. I am this body, asmita. And then there is raga, attachment, the desire for material happiness, and those means which will give it. You know. So we want material pleasures and we want to avoid material sufferings. You know. And there is raga and there is trishna. That is also one of the qualities of one who is in the mode of passion. You know, Krishna in the Gita in the 13th chapter, not in the 13th, it is in the 14th chapter, the three modes. Uh, Rajo ragatmika vidhi trishna. So raga means, attachment to the object of the senses. And when we get that, we desire more. Ye dil mange more, So that is raga. And dvesh is hatred or aversion, the repulsion to unhappiness, the causes of unhappiness. So this is how we are oscillating between raga and dvesh. And when we are enjoying the objects of our senses, we are absorbed in it. So that becomes raga vinivesh. And when we are in distress, we are absorbed in it. How to become free from it, how to become free from it. That's the consciousness. So these are all states of consciousness absorbed in matter, you know, and we are always flipping from raga vinivesh to dvesha vinivesh. It's like the modes of passion and ignorance, we are oscillating between this. Abhinivesh means to be absorbed in it. So this is how these are the five causes of kleshas. Now in the Bhagavatam it is mentioned dvayam dvitya vineshatah syat ईशादपेतस्य विप्रयो स्मृति तन्माययतो बुधाभजेतं भक्तेकेशं gurudevatma. Fear arises when the living entity misidentifies himself as a material body. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshat syat. Because of absorption in the external illusionary energy of the Lord. So Dvitiya is the secondary energy of the Lord. That is the Bhairanga Shakti. So fear arises because of the Jiva caught up in the material energy. And he is now covered by avidya. And being covered by avidya, he is now identifying himself as the body. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, Ishad apetasya viprayo smriti. He also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. That is vismriti. It happens. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency of the illusion called as Maya. Tan Maya to. Therefore, an intelligent person, Buddha, should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord. Abhaje tam. So here, abhaje tam, bhajan means Shuddha Bhakti. That's why, Prabhupada in his translation or Prabhupada's disciples in their translation have mentioned unflinching, unalloyed devotional service. That is Shuddha Bhakti. Under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. Bhakta Eke Esham. Eke Esham means unflinching, unalloyed devotional service, bhajan. You know, and they should accept the Guru Devatma. He should be whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and his very life and soul. So that is Shuddha Bhakti. That is how one should accept a Guru. So, to give an example of Bhayam Dvitiya Abhiniveshat Syat, the example is given of a child who has the desire to see the horror movie and he ons the remote and starts seeing the horror movie. And because he has this desire to see the horror movie, when the horror scene comes, he becomes very fearful and his consciousness is locked in the TV screen. And actually, what is happening on the TV screen has nothing to do with the reality. It has nothing to do with the reality. But yet, his consciousness is locked in that TV screen, and whatever is happening there, the fearful scene, in the horror movie, it gets affected, and he gets affected, and he is in fear. Bhayam Dvitiya Abhinivesh. But actually, constitutionally, if you see, that child has a loving relationship with the mother. If he turns to his left or to his right, whatever it is, his mother is there and he can have a very affectionate relationship and loving exchange, which is compared to Shuddha Bhakti. But because he has turned his face away from his mother, why? Because of that desire to watch the horror movie. Similarly, the living entity has turned his face away. Vaimukya, it is called. Vimukha. He has become Vimukha and he has turned his face towards Maya with the desire to become Ishwar, enjoyer, and that's why he is placed in this material energy and is going through the suffering. So this is what in the 11th canto, the sages are discussing, the Nav Yogendras, And in the fifth canto, Rishabdev says, Priti na yavan mai vasudeva na muchate deha yogena tavat. Therefore, until one has love for Lord Vasudeva, Priti na yavan mai vasudeva, who is none other than myself, mai. He is certainly not delivered from having to accept a material body again. Na munchate, delivered, deha yogena tavat. So, deha yoga is the jiva which is in yoga with this prakriti. Prakriti means the body is also made of prakriti, 24 elements. We are in that yoga. And as long as we don't develop priti towards Vasudeva, this Deha yoga will not go away so easily. So then, at what stage of our practice of bhakti is this Deha yoga destroyed? Completely. Anyone knows, raise your hands. At what stage, practice of bhakti is this Deha yoga destroyed? Anyone? Tirth Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Ma'am. Prabhuji, is it Nishtha?
Nishta, okay. That's some more. Any other thoughts anyone else has? Birendra Yadav Prabhuji, Bir Krish Prabhuji, what is your answer?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. It is Bhava Prabhu.
It is Bhava. It is Bhava. Shubhikshana Krishna Prabhuji, you had some other thoughts?
Yes, Prabhu, I was thinking about Ruchi.
Ruchi, no. bhava. So we have to understand, we have all heard the philosophy, we are not this body, we are spirit soul. But how many of us have realized this? You know, we hear, how many of us have realized that we are not this body? So that realization happens at the stage of Nishtha. Nishtha. And then, when the spiritual body is developed, at the stage of Bhava, then the Deha Yoga is completely destroyed. Deha Yoga is completely destroyed. Of course, what Tirtha Prabhu said is also true. Yet at Nishtha become self-realized, but the illusion continues because still we have not realized our spiritual body. The spiritual body. The spiritual body is realized only in the Bhava stage. So that complete destruction happens. So we have these four kinds of, defects. Is one is Brahma, Vipralapsa, Karna Patava, and what is it? Tendency to commit mistakes, Vipralipsa. Karna Patava is our senses are deficient, and Brahma is illusion, and one more is what? Uh, what is it? I don't recollect the four defects, the foundational knowledge. Yes, but Birkashruji.
Oh, it's Brahma Pramad Karna Pata Vipralipsa.
Pramad. We commit mistakes. Pramad. So among them, these four, there is the Brahma. The Brahma is illusion. So, sometimes, when we are in darkness, and we are in the room and we see something hanging, it's a rope actually. And when the light gets on, we think it is a snake and we become fearful. But when the light is on, oh, it's a rope. So the illusion goes away. So, but there are certain kinds of illusions, although we have the understanding, we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. First is, we have this just a theoretical understanding, and with which we are practicing Bhakti Yoga now. But we have not realized it. So only when we realize to a certain degree, the illusion is destroyed. But it is completely destroyed in the bhava stage. So the illusion stays on, bhayam dvitiya binivesh. So the klesha sufferings progressively is destroyed by the practice of bhakti. This is what, and sadhana bhakti is still from Shraddha to Asakti stage. Please remember, So all these get destroyed with the practice of sadhana bhakti. Okay. Now, apart from, there are these five types of klesha. Kleshas include also the four types of sins. There are the four types of the sins. And in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rup Goswami goes on in detail to discuss this, and I'll not go into that now. But there are these four: aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijan phalonmukam krameneva praliyate Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. For those who have undeviating, an exclusive attachment for Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam, is exclusively and undeviatingly practicing Shuddha bhakti. That is Shuddha sadhana bhakti. Please remember again here. What will happen? Aprarabdha. Aprarabdha is, it is the sins we have committed, but they have not started yielding results. So this is a prarabdha. And the kuta is the sins which are almost started to fructify. They are starting to produce seeds. They have started to take shapes. And bijas, they have already manifested as sinful desires in the heart, you know. And prarabdha is the actual suffering, the sins which we are suffering now, or the disease which has manifested now. Sometimes, just 2, 3 days before you get a fever, you start sensing in your mind, something is wrong, the bijas which are there, they are getting fructified. And after 2, 3 days, you get the fever. That is, the fever is the prarabdha sin, suffering. So this kuta and prarabdha are in still subtler form. So please remember, I'm not going to go into the discussion of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is a vast discussion. So these are all these four stages are, the sins which are getting fructified, you know. you know. So this is suffering, the suffering, and it goes through these four stages, you know. And these bijas now will be not the papa bijas, these are karma bijas, you know. Karma bijas, these are karma bijas. Also, there is, with these repeatedly when we do these activities, once we do, then there is a tendency that we want to do it again and again. So they are the papa bijas, but these are the karma bijas here. Karma goes through these four stages. Once you commit a sin, then that sin goes through these four stages of aprarabdha, utam, bijam, and then prarabdha. It manifests in these four stages. So that's the point being mentioned. So along with the kleshas, there are these kleshas include these four types of sin, and by practice of Shuddha Bhakti, you know, prarabdha, bija, kuta, aprarabdha are all destroyed. That is what you know. So here is a very important point. Ignorance is the cause of all the material desires of the conditioned souls. So where does Kunti Maharani in her prayers, beautiful prayers, I'll just share that. She mentions in her one of her prayers, it's 8:15. Still complete this. In the first canto, 8th chapter, the last few verses. शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति अभिक्ष्ण. No, not here, but still back. Paranti nandati tave ye taeva pashyanti. Not this. There is one more verse. Bhavesmin क्लिश्यमानायाम अविद्या काम कर्म भी श्रवण स्मरहरणि करिष्यन् इति केचन. Yet others say that you appear to regenerate the devotional service of hearing. Bhave, in this material creation, asmin klishyamanam. Here avidya, klesh, klishyamanam, those who are suffering. And the root is what? Avidya. And because of avidya, you have calm, desire, and you do karma. And then because you do this karma, then what happens? There is a karma phala. And that karma phala goes through a prarabdha, utam, bijam, prarabdha. So that's the point being made. So basically, it is because of ignorance, the jiva, because ignorance is the cause of all material desires of the conditioned soul. So he goes through these four stages, you can say, three stages. So there is the avidya, and because of avidya, you have kama, and then there is karma. If you have no kamna, then you will not do any karma. And if you are annabhilashata shunyam, then you'll do a karma, that is devotional service. You do karma, and this will lead to, uh, a fruit, and that goes through a prarabdha, then kuta or kutam, and then it fructifies into bija, and then it actually manifests as prarabdha. So like that, these four steps. So this is ignorance. Avidya is the cause. Jivas accept the bodies of demigods, human beings, or animals to enjoy these desires that continue like a stream. Among these bodies, the human body is the complete field for doing all types of karma, pious and impious. So just think about it very carefully that only in the human form of life you can generate karma. And the soul, the jiva, has such potency that in one lifetime of say 100 years or 70 years, what we are now, you can generate such karma that to get the fruits of those karma, either papa or punya, you will generate at least millions and millions of bodies because you have to get all the fruits na, of all your karma. The demigod and the animal bodies, however, are meant for sense enjoyment only. So the demigod bodies are, uh, just enjoying the fruits of their punya. The enjoying spirit being very strong in these bodies, the desires arising in them are simultaneously fulfilled along with prarabdha. So their prarabdha is that they are enjoying. Animals are just enjoying. These desires thus do not have a chance to get transformed into seeds of seed form. So they don't, although they enjoy or suffer, in one sense, the animals suffer also, but they don't generate karma. Whereas humans, when they enjoy the fruits of their previous enjoyment, they generate new karmas. You know, only the human form is suitable for accumulation of new seeds of desires. So this is the human form. Duly considered, one can understand the human being's expert and desiring more than he is capable of enjoying. We have a lot of desire. I have, one car, then I need one bungalow here, one bungalow there. I have one aeroplane, then I need another aeroplane, then I want to have a company which is having many aeroplanes. This desire, keeps on expanding, keeps on expanding. So sadhana bhakti has the power to destroy avidya. And this is the verse. Yad pad pankaja palasa vilasa bhaktya karmashayam gratitamudgratayanti santah tadvanna riktamatayo yatayopi ruddha Shoto ganastam maranya bhaja vasudevam. This is the four Kumaras giving instruction to Prithu. Sri Sanatkumar told Maharaj Prithu, O king, the devotees who are engaged in the service of the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord, you know, Tam aranya bhaja vasudevam. Very easily overcome the heart knots of ignorance. Karmashayam. Karmashayam here is, the impressions of the vasanas, which altogether sum total is called as avidya. This devotion is like a ever increasing effulgence shining from the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord. Yad pada pankaja palasha vilasa bhaktya. They take pleasure in that. This means bhakti appears from the lotus feet of the Lord. But the unwise sannyasis, rikt matayo, this is the jnanis and the yogis, that are inclined towards non-personal Brahman, yatato api ruddha, try to overcome material desires and the senses are unable to do so. Shroto ganastam aranya bhaja vasudevam. Yeah, material desires. Unable to do so. Therefore, you should worship Lord Vasudev, who is worth taking shelter of. So just like, Shroto Ganas means just like, in the river, there are waves. One cannot stop the waves. So the senses are like that, trying to stop the senses in the mind, which are like the waves in the gunas, by the jnana and ashtanga marg will not work. But the devotee, by performing devotional service, he's like a river, and by swimming in the bhakti, he can create waves in the ocean. The ocean is the Lord. And the Lord, who is this devotee who is performing devotional service? You know, and the Lord then bestows his mercy, then only one can control these senses. Otherwise, the senses are like flowing with material desires. So the avidya, this stream, continuous stream which is flowing because of these desires, avidya is destroyed at the root by practice of sadhana bhakti. Of course, this gets destroyed at the end of asakti and the beginning of bhava stages. Complete avidya is destroyed. By the destruction of avidya, the destruction of four other kleshas follows automatically, since they are all the results of avidya. The four different, kleshas, the sufferings is a prarabdha, hutam. The Bhagavad describes the discretion of prarabdha sins to sadhana bhakti. Yannamadeha shavananukirtanat yat pravar यन्नामधेशवनानुकीर्तनात् यत्प्रवर्णाद्यत्स्मरणादपि क्वचित् स्वाद्योऽपि सद्यः शवनाय कल्पते कुतः पुनस्तु भगवन्नुदर्शनात्. Devotee saying Kapil Dev, what to speak of the fortune of a person who sees the Lord face to face? Kuta punastu bhagavannu darshanat. Even a low class person born in a Chandala family of dog eaters, you know, what is it? Shavana, sorry, Swadhyopi. Swadhyopi means Shwadha, dog eater. Simply by hearing, chanting, praying, paying obeisances, or remembering the Lord. Yan nama deha shavananu kirtanad yad pravarnanad yad smaranad api kvachet. Immediately, only once, immediately becomes qualified to perform Vedic sacrifices or becomes the most honorable person. Shavanaya kalpate. That means he is a dog eater because of his sinful activities. And by chanting the holy names, he gives up those habits. That means he's got a prarabdha body of a dog eater and he's eating dogs. But by chanting the holy name, he gives up that habit. That means his prarabdha karma is destroyed. Although he's got a body which is very ugly or dark, but still that body which is doing those activities, that stops. So we have to understand that's how prarabdha is destroyed. Okay, so I will stop here. Any questions? Bir Krish Prabhuji, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, this five type klesa, avidya, avidya,
Asmita,
asmita, rag,
Raga, Dvesh, and
and
Abhinivesh.
abhinivesh. So, Prabhu, with respect to these five types and this aprarabdha, kutam, bijam, and prarabdha.
Yes, correct.
So these four stages are linked only with avidya stage, or how it is?
No, 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 no. Please understand. Because of avidya, we perform, we have desires. We have desires. And these desires, because of these desires, we perform karma, say a sinful activity. And when we perform a sinful activity, then we suffer. And that suffering of that sinful reaction goes through these four stages: aprarabdha, kutam, bijam, phalan, prarabdha. Avidya has these different manifestations. you know, uh, asmita is also avidya, that I am a human being, I am rich, that is because of avidya. And rag means, I am attracted to, you know, enjoy the sense objects. That is also avidya. But there are different, phases of manifestation of avidya. Raga abhinivesh, dvesha abhinivesh, and abhinivesh means to be absorbed in that consciousness. So that is all these phases of avidya, these are in one sense. And because of avidya, we perform kama, and then we do karma, and that karma is vikarma. When vikarma will give the sinful, reactions which goes through these 4 stages. So that's how we have to see it. Is it clear?
Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Navneet Kalra Mataji, yes. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Oh,
Yes.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. My question is partly answered because I had a confusion in Avidya. The last part was mistaking the self to be not self, and then second part was Asmita. So in my mind, I thought it was common. Like false ego
Asmita is
is
basically the identification, and absorption in that identification is Abhinivesh.
okay. No, Prabhuji, Asmita and that mistaking the self to be not self. Isn't that same false ego?
Yeah, it's a false ego, different manifestations of false ego, that
Okay.
absorption in that, that
Okay.
absorption in that is Abhinivesh.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, any other questions anyone else has? Okay, the last part, Shubhani, yeah, it is one line. I'll just cover it so that we can continue our discussion tomorrow to the next the fourth paragraph. So I'll just 2 minutes. I'll just take this. This is very simple. So Shubhani, we mentioned, is refers to qualities such as disinterest in material affairs, Durvishaya, Vaitrishna, interest in the Lord, Bhagavad Vishaya, Sat Trishna Anukula, and then Kripa, Shama, Satya, Saralya, Samya, evenness, Dhairya, Gambhirya, gravity, respectfulness, Manada, humility, all good fortune, so on. And then he quotes this Sarve Gunas Tatra Samasate Sura. Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagvatya Kinchana Sarvair Gunais Tatra Samasate Sura Harava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahadguna Manorate Nasati Dhavato Bahi. All the demigods and their exalted qualities manifest in the person. Sarves Gunesh Tatra Samasate Sura. Actually, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur and Jeev Goswami mention all the qualities of the Lord as well as the demigods. Because if we have the qualities of the demigods, then the demigod worshippers also have those qualities. And it includes the Lord as well as the demigods, because the demigods also get their qualities from the Lord. So all the qualities of the Lord and the demigods who have developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Person. Yes, asti bhakti bhagavati akinchana. Now, again, here it is very clear that it is unalloyed devotion service. These qualities manifest. However, for one who is not a devotee, harava bhaktasya, and thus driven by the temporary and material desires of his mind, mano ratena asati dhavato bhahi. He is riding on the chariot of the mind. Whatever desires come in the mind, and then he sits on it, then he starts traveling in that mind chariot. How can there be any good qualities in him? Kuto mahad kuna. That's mentioned. Now I'm going to take this section tomorrow based on this discussion which we had just now. These qualities. How do we understand whether we are practicing Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti? How do we understand that? Because here it is mentioned the qualities. So tomorrow I'll take this short section and then we'll continue with the next paragraph. Thank you very much. श्री माधुर्य कदम्बनी की जय, श्री विश्वनाथ चक्र ठाकुर की जय, श्री रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.